Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming tonight. My name is Lane Harder. I'm the chair of music composition at SMU. I'm very grateful to George Nixon, the director of SYZYGY, for continuing to host and put on the 24HC concert. This is one of my favorite events that we do because in order to participate in tonight's performance, the composers represented tonight had to recruit a certain number of performers, and they got 18 performers to participate, which is fantastic. And then they drew their names out of a hat, and then they had 12 hours to write a piece for whatever instrumentation it was that they chose. And then the performers had 12 hours to learn the music. And the result, hence 24H, which is our 24-hour concert, is what that means. So we're very, very proud of our composers and performers. And to get started, I just want to say this first piece, to me, kind of exemplifies what 24HC is all about. You can see kind of the oddball instrumentation here. These are 4 instruments that do not normally go together, but these are the names that were drawn by Max Whitaker, one of our composition students, and I'd like for him to tell us a little bit about his piece.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Max Whitaker, and this piece is called Mood for a Silly Quartet. And I named it that because the moment these 4 names were drawn, I was like, wow, that is a silly quartet. In fact, Dr. Harder has bet 2 weeks' salary that an ensemble like this has never been written for before. I'm not going to bother to check that, but one of my primary challenges in this piece was just blending the massive contrasting timbres of violin, bass trombone, and handbells. And what I ended up doing is have them being in sort of a contrapuntal conversation for the most of the piece, with the piano keeping a steady backbone. And I feel like an effort was made. So yes, without further ado, this is Mood for a Silly Quartet.
while we're finishing up this little setup change, I just want to say, especially after hearing that first piece again, and seeing this next one set up, I'm always so impressed with the work that our composers do, especially on such short notice. And I'm also impressed with their stylistic diversity. I think you'll see none of these pieces really sound the same, which is what we want. Frankly, we don't really have a house style here. Our job in the composition department is to help our students find their own voice. This next piece is by Eduardo Rodriguez Pina, who is, in addition to being a President's Scholar, has already forged a significant path in video game scoring and media scoring of various kinds. I think you'll hear some of that influence in this piece, but I don't want to presume anything. So here's Eduardo to tell us about his piece.
All right, hi everybody. As you heard, my name is Eduardo Rodriguez Pena, senior, everything. Acoustic guitar. Somehow never wrote for it, but if any of you have seen the Barbie movie, great movie by the way, you'll remember that scene where Ken's playing the guitar to Barbie, and while funny and kind of, in the context a little weird, it touched on something that I really think that acoustic guitar is really good at, and that's being honest, and honest in the way that it's very, very individual, the way anybody plays acoustic guitar. Just the way that it kind of taps into your soul and you kind of just speak through it. And I wanted to touch on that and make a moment to think just what it sounds like. A moment to think, a moment to be honest with yourself, and a moment to let all that is in your head out. Thank you.
always very heartened when singers volunteer to perform on 24HC. That can be kind of a tall order depending on all kinds of things, what the text is, what the style of the music is, all kinds of things. Ray Wynn, fortunately, is also a singer. And he's set a text, a beautiful text by Sarah Teasdale, who's very popular poet for a lot of people to set, a lot of composers to set to music. So I would like for Ray to say a word about his piece.
Hello everyone, my name is Ray Wynn, and this is my piece, Mythic. This is my first time doing the 24HC, and so when I first got my list of names, I was kind of faced with a bit of a challenge. I had to kind of think of how to use this ensemble to its fullest extent. And I kind of thought as a kind of mini wind ensemble sort of scenario. But I was thinking how to contrast that with such a small group. And so when I was looking for text, I found this text by Sarah Teasdale, who's one of my favorite poets, The Fairy Forest. And that reminded me of a lot of really dark Celtic fairy tales, very contrasting to the more modern fairy tales you see of, like, you know, glitz and glamour and fairies. And so I was attempting to try to capture that sort of dark fairy tale vibe to it, eventually turning to the more traditional modern fairy tale feeling. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy Mythic, and please, a very special shout out to Alex, Aaron, Jackson, and Joe, my performers. Thank you so much. I could not have done this without you.
are extremely fortunate tonight to have two authors of the text that was set for this next piece. Our very own Lillian Rivas and Spilili Bouvier. Is she, or did I find her? Please, Spilili Bouvier. We don't often get to acknowledge authors of text, so we're very glad that you're here. Lillian, in addition to being a singer and a composer, as it turns out, is also a great wordsmith and has a great sense of theatricality, having written a number of theatrical works and vocal works. And so I would like for her to tell us about her piece, Insomnia.
Hello everyone, my name is Lillian Rivas, and as Dr. Harder just said, my piece is Insomnia. I am once again very grateful to Spilili Bouvier, who is my mom, for writing my text. She's always got me when I need her. And so this piece was inspired by the fact that I am not a morning person. And drawing names was at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday. And I was not trying to be awake at 7:30 in the morning on Sunday. Also, 24HC, it's so much fun, but it's a little stressful. So the night before, riddled with waking up, filled with strange urges. So the moral of the story is all that gets channeled into this piece right here, and I'm very excited to perform it for you. I'm not performing, to show it to you, and I'm very grateful to my performers, Claudia, Holly, and Aaliyah, for doing such a wonderful job of portraying how it feels when you're really, really sleepy all the time.
and for being adventurous with us. There will be other SYZYGY concerts throughout the year. The Composition Department's Emerging Sounds concert is coming up in November. Please see the SMU Meadows calendar for those dates and times. For this last piece was written by our very own Brandon Morrison, a violist who happened to draw the name of a violist also, which is fortuitous. You may look at the titles on the program and think to yourself, you know, one of these things is not like the other. Yeah, so I'm just gonna let Brandon handle the explanation for that. But before we do that, I just wanna say one last thing about 24HC. You know, an event like this is not about throwing something together at the last minute. We don't want people to think that that's what we think contemporary music is. It's much more about just making creative decisions very quickly. And one of the things I love about 24HC for our composers is that it's a really good measure of sort of where your technique is, like right now. Like what can you execute, you know, in the next 12 hours. And so I'm very proud of the work that our students have done, certainly for this concert. Can we thank all of our composers quickly? Now that's easy for me to say. I'm in the composition department. To me, the real ovation should go to the people who literally give body and sinew to our notes and make them possible for an audience to hear. Can we give a hand to all of our performers this evening? And without further ado, Brandon Morrison.
Thank you. So as Dr. Harder said, what the heck is this title? I know all of you were thinking it as soon as you opened the program, so I will explain that. But first, I just want to kind of describe my thought process of writing this piece. So as soon as, even before I even started writing even the first note, I knew in my head I wanted this piece to be spooky. And I knew this, fall is coming, which fall means Halloween, and it's September, but who cares about September? Everybody wants it to be October, so it is Halloween. So that is why I wanted to write a spooky piece that kind of really gets me in that Halloween-y feel. And so when I started writing this piece, I was like, it's weird, it's cacophonous, and I was like, it kind of sounds like people screaming in the pits of hell. And that is when I thought of Ptolemy, the ninth circle of hell, where the people who betrayed loved ones get thrown into. And so that is why my good friend Claire will be emulating those screams in this piece. And, you better not betray me because you know what'll happen. So I hope you all enjoy, or I hope you don't because it is weird. But thank you.